What's going on, boxing fans? It's Julian Williams with The Distance. I have another video for you guys today. This one necessarily is a fantasy matchup that I actually came up with on my own. You're gonna get a few of these from me every now and again. Not all the time, because I do like to hear from people what they would like me to do. But I'm a little surprised I haven't gotten this one yet. But this is actually a fight that actually should have happened. If you ask me, this matchup is Larry Holmes versus George Foreman. And this is a matchup that they tried to make happen. Like in the late '90s, they did try to make this fight happen, but it didn't end up happening. It was going to be called like the Birthday Bash or something like that. But both of them were old anyway. Old at the time anyway. So it'd be like kind of like, what's the point in seeing that damn fight? Anyway, this matchup, Larry Holmes versus Big George Foreman. Well, what can I say? Two of the best heavyweights from the '70s. One was a champion in the early to mid '70s. The other was a champion in the late '70s. When George Foreman was a champion, it was kind of a reign of terror. Because he was a big fighter, and he was undefeated, who had devastating knockout power. He knocked out two guys that defeated Muhammad Ali and took him out early. He had like an 81-inch reach, I think. I think he had an 81. It was something along those lines. I think it was around 80. But he was taking out men that beat Muhammad Ali. And it was just, I guess it was kind of scary because in a way, Ali was kind of like the hero, and crowds were always behind Ali, but they were a bit worried about him in that fight in Zaire many years ago, before I was even born. But overall, George Foreman, it was a reign of terror because he was a big guy, big strong puncher, taking out men early that Ali didn't defeat, and had trouble taking out. And when you think about it, it's the reason it's scary is because Ali's the hero, and he defeated these men, and even though he defeated these men, it's kind of like, what's the way to beat this man? How do you beat this man? Is he an immovable force? Is he an unstoppable object? That's what a lot of people were thinking about. And on top of that, he didn't have this really big love relationship with the media. The media wasn't really behind George Foreman the same way they weren't behind Larry Holmes. People didn't like Larry Holmes, because of how he defeated Muhammad Ali. People to this day still don't forgive Larry Holmes, and when you look at the fight, you could tell that Larry Holmes was he was letting out. He didn't want to knock out. He didn't want to hurt Muhammad Ali. Especially in front of in front of an audience who was just pro Ali. Holmes' reputation never recovered from that, even though he didn't do what he could have done to Ali. He could have hurt Ali more than he did, and the media didn't have that best of relationship with Larry Holmes neither. So in a fight like this, when I think of it, I just think of it as a fight that should have happened. Around this time, George Foreman was kind of damaged from the fight in Zaire. Let's face it, his performances since the Rumble in the Jungle, he kind of went a little downhill. In a fight like this, I'd say Larry Holmes will probably stay on the outside and just fire off the left jab, and just use the ring. He wouldn't necessarily run. He wouldn't necessarily, but I think that he would actually keep his distance from George Foreman, because George Foreman can't protect himself from that Larry Holmes jab because it was sharp, it was crisp, and other than it being sharp and crisp, Larry Holmes moved around a lot. Had a lot of movement. not necessarily the Ali type movement, but he moved a lot, and Foreman did well against fighters who were stationary targets, but there's no way that Big George Foreman slips or evades Larry Holmes' left jab, because it was accurate and precise. So I do see George Foreman coming forward. I see him trying to not necessarily cut off the ring, but I do see him kind of trying to come off with a lot of straight shots, But the only thing about this matchup is, how is George Foreman going to get Larry Holmes on the inside? If Larry Holmes, in a way, doesn't necessarily like fighting on the inside, and doesn't want to fight on the inside with George Foreman, but I do see Foreman trying to zero in on Larry Holmes. I see him trying to zero in on him, but I just see Holmes constantly moving, firing off the jab, setting up things off the jab, because Foreman didn't set up anything off his jab. A lot of Foreman's shots were power shots, and I just see Larry Holmes knowing when the shots are coming, evading them, and using his left jab and moving around the ring, probably setting them up with the right hand with that jab, and hurting them. But as you can tell in this matchup, it really everything points towards Larry Holmes. Everything points towards him, because one, he has the hand speed advantage. He moved around a lot. Other than moving around a lot, and I guess it was kind of his defense, but other than moving around a lot, he could take a punch, or if he got knocked down, he could get back up and fight much stronger and fight much smarter. I think Larry Holmes was the more skilled fighter. I think he was a more tactical fighter. I think that Foreman would just have a lot of trouble trying to cut off the ring, and I think he would have a lot of trouble trying to even land the power shot on Larry Holmes if Larry Holmes constantly moves. If he constantly, and the fact of the matter is this: Foreman couldn't get away from that left jab. He couldn't, come under the left jab and hit Holmes with a power shot. All Foreman pretty much wanted to do was slug it out, and Holmes wasn't the fighter that would slug it out with or stand in front of him. So I'm gonna say Larry Holmes should win this fight, 15-round unanimous decision, because I think that Holmes will probably come out early, or maybe come out like in the 4th round, just outbox, keep his distance, and stay away from the right hand or the left hand of Foreman, because he did throw a lot of pretty good straight shots, and I really doubt that he would slug it out with George Foreman. So I'd say Larry Holmes outboxes George Foreman to a 15-round decision. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.